And we are officially live. Another episode of Shut Up and Invest. J Money, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, I'm doing good, Kevin. Man, how you doing today?
Back
Been
on the grind, my
running around
friend.
like crazy. I know
All
you're
right.
running around like crazy. I just walked in the house. You got to go
You
to a
just came
meeting, so
back
we
from
want to hop
Puerto
on here.
Rico right now?
No. I got back on Monday. I got back on Monday from Puerto Rico. So I was out there for 3 days celebrating the 15-year wedding anniversary. Looking at some real estate, some Airbnb, some stuff like that. But just was able to enjoy 3 days out there in beautiful Puerto Rico.
Very nice, very nice. So, in the pandemic, back to traveling, back to doing deals, the same amount of deals or less deals. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about. Elections are around the corner. Does that change any of our strategies? Does that change any of our mindset? That is today's topic. So, right off the jump,
Definitely.
Jade, how's it affecting currently right now? The fact that kind of things are going back to normal. Are you seeing any difference in the markets? Are you seeing any difference in your business?
I mean, the main difference that we're seeing is that we're seeing more deals, right? So, I mean, we've been seeing more deals throughout the whole pandemic since, March happened and it kind of slowed down, grinded to a halt. By the middle of April, into April, it was back to normal. We've been seeing more deals. So, we're probably doing about 10 deals a month right now. 99% of them are all seller finance deals. We're buying them and then we're going to sell them on land contract and, hold the note. We're not doing much wholesaling just because we don't want to wholesale anything, right? We're trying to create as much cash flow as we possibly can. So whereas, when people see bad things or negative things happen, it's all about your mindset and how you kind of maneuver in it. This year is going to probably be our best year we've had, in the last 2 or 3 years.
Most of your buyers are holding the properties. So your buyers currently during this pandemic are not necessarily trying to flip them, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, I mean the majority of mine are buy and hold for rentals. Maybe a few. I mean, I got a payoff that we talked about a few shows ago. That was from a flip, right? I had a call from an investor 2 weeks ago who said he's listing a house for sale right now that he has with us. But besides those two, 95% of these are buy and hold investors, right? So, the buy and hold investors, like we talked about before, those are the ones that honestly are making money in any market that happens, right? The flippers are the ones that got to kind of adjust their numbers and stuff. But if you're a buy and hold investor, you're looking for deals for cash flow, and you can do it in any kind of market, a good market, bad market, stagnant market, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, good point. And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on a little bit is there's a lot of people that throughout the last couple years have been making a ton of money just feeding the flip community, the people that want to
Mm.
renovate to make money. Those are the people that I feel have felt the biggest punch during this pandemic. And those are the people now moving into elections that they're very eager to see how things get handled, to see if the market is going to stay where they're going to stay. They're also the ones kind of rolling the dice. I have a deal right now on the table with one of my guys that we finance his flips, and his
Mhm.
project, and I'm interested to hear your point of view, is adding an additional bedroom and bathroom in the market that I know right now is difficult to push permits and plans through because I'm in the middle of one with that same city right now.
Yeah.
So we're now, if you're listening to this episode live, um, in October. He's guesstimating that he should have everything done in 6 months.
Mm.
In
So
six
that, yeah.
months, elections are done. We don't know who's going to end up in there. And that could potentially have an impact on how things get handled as far as from the economy and the rest of this opening back up. We don't know also if there's going to be a flare up again on the whole corona front that's going to cause some markets to kind of pull back again, which I don't even know if we can afford to do that. But Let's just say, I mean, look, the Lakers just won a championship and they're not even going to have a parade.
Yeah, crazy, right? I just saw that the other day, right? They're not even having a parade. So, I mean, I think there's some stuff out in the streets, but there's no confetti in the air or nothing, right? And that also depends on each market too, right? So I think one thing with what you're saying right now is real estate more than ever right now is market driven, right? Local driven, right? The one thing that the whole coronavirus pandemic has shown us is that, in the USA, it's still a country made up of states, right? And those states have law that supersede the federal government. For example, if you're in Florida, the Florida governor has made decisions that kind of have been like, you know what? If you're in Miami-Dade County, right? If you're in Fort Lauderdale, Broward, if you're in, Pinellas, you decide what's best for your county, right? We've seen that. So as Miami-Dade, we've been kind of more locked down in, say, Tampa and Orlando. If you're in Florida, you can look at things and say it doesn't matter what happens because that governor's going to let you do what is best for your community, right? If you're in, per se, Michigan, where I do a lot of deals, they've had a one-size-shoe-fits-all kind of, policy. And there's been, multiple times where real estate was shut down in Michigan. So, I think even more than ever now, looking at the market you're in and the local government, right? Because we get so wrapped up in the national presidential election, but the local government is what's going to determine more, what's going to happen in your area, especially for real estate.
Exactly. So in this scenario where his numbers are based on an ARV that is current right now with as hot as the market is because of the limited inventory and people are fighting over the same property and they're trying to get it in before elections and they're trying to get it in if there is a market correction. There right now is a frenzy that certain flippers are trying to take advantage because they're like, wait a minute, I can get another property or two in and probably make another 50 grand here easy on these deals. And this is what he's trying to do, but it's not a 2-3 month flip. It's a 6 month flip because he's going to add square footage and another bedroom and a bathroom to the property, which, 6 months is a very aggressive with the way things are, just because I know I'm going through it personally with the same exact city that
yeah.
I'm not sure I'm willing to lend on his ARV right now. And that's literally the position that I'm in right now, where I'm going to have to make a decision by the end of the day of what I feel comfortable lending in. Because if it was just tile, paint, and changing a couple cabinets, that would be a much different situation versus what he's trying to do and bank on that the ARV is going to be there come, what are we talking about? March, April, May, June, depending on how long.
Yeah, that's risky. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the investor doing a deal right now, projecting to be 6 months out, right? That just, to me, is not a comfortable spot to be in. So as the private lender lending the money on that, I'd have to look at a couple of factors, right? If he can't flip that house, can he then turn into a rental, and can it make rental income to still make the payments, right? Like how much can he, what are his other options with that price, with that property? Because, predicting a flip property in 6 months with what's going on right now is very, very difficult to do.
Yeah. So a couple key
while
things.
You're on that,
I'm sorry?
I was going to ask you while you're on that question too, real quick. I mean, just kind of a background. What kind of what kind of LTV of the ARV, are you financing that at too? Because I know that's a huge factor too, right? Because I know those numbers have shrunk.
Yeah. Daryl's asking, where's this at? And we're talking about here, South Florida market, the one we're talking about. And then I know Michigan and Pennsylvania is the other market that we're talking about is cash flowing, and the buy and holds is kind of what we're talking about in this particular case study. I'm comfortable going 65% ARV right now and having them put, about 20% in the game on a normal situation. 6 months out, I'm not that comfortable at those numbers. I may want, because if there's a market correction and he's not going to be able to make the 50,000 and he's just going to be able to even out and get his money back and turn that into a rental, I need to make sure there's equity there to be able to protect no matter what happens. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm not really looking to do flips right now. I know we've been doing some deals, but if they were flips, they'd be more of a shorter turnaround and not as much construction as what you're saying.
right. So a couple key points that I take from this conversation is if in your network you have nothing but people that are looking to fix and flip, that are wanting to, partner with you or buy properties from you if you find them, you are subject to what happens during a pandemic, what happens during an election year. You have kind of just a limited option of exit strategies, which is a big
Mhm.
topic that we always discuss here. If
Mhm.
you add some buy and hold, now if you're still cash flowing properties, those tend to be able to be, um, you know, protected by whatever the market is doing, no matter what.
They do. Yeah, thinking about it, I mean, rent, people always need somewhere to live, right? So if you have income coming in, you can generate some income. A flip property, if you're not buying it with the idea of my worst case scenario is I can rent it out, right? Then you're going to have a lack of income coming in at all, right? And that flip property, you can see the values drop, drastically where you can never get that amount back. So, what you're saying is true. Though we've been saying this for a while. Is you want to kind of be diversified in who your buyers are, right? If you're strictly wholesale, let's start from a wholesaler point of view. You've been wholesaling to fix and flippers for a long time, right? You should have already been doing it, but you want to pivot to making sure you have some buy and hold buyers, in your database, because the fix and flips will dry up to a point. Now, those guys who are smart and know what they're doing, they can fix and flip any market. But, even a smart, experienced fix and flipper is going to have a period of time where, the market is changing. There's uncertainty, and the fix and flips are on hold.
Well,
So I was just saying you want to kind of diversify your buyers pool at all times.
yeah, exactly. That right there keeps you in the game no matter what. I agree with you 100%. How do you feel personally on the elections, and what does that mean for your personal real estate strategy?
Got it. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm one of those guys that always say I can make money in real estate regardless who the president is. I'm neither part of the red or the blue gang. I'm kind of just independent, right? So I honestly, and what we're doing mostly, which is seller finance deals, um, I don't think it affects it as much, right? Again, my markets are pretty much cash flow markets, right? So, the properties you're picking up, we're picking up with cash. We're selling them on land contract to people with a short, small down payment down. At the end of the day, that's always going to be going on, right? There's going to always be those transactions where people are looking for houses. They have 5,000-10,000 down, right? Looking for a home to stay in. So regardless if Biden or Trump or whoever else wins, it's not going to affect how we continue to move forward in our company. And that's just how we move day to day.
Right. Some of the traditional mindsets and throughout the years is the Democrats put more rules, regulations, and makes it harder to be able to do business. For example, can you do private money or seller financing deals for people that want to live in the property? And what are the proper guidelines to be able to follow so that you're not being a predatory, real estate lending or investor situation? So real estate as a whole in history has kind of always wanted to go towards the Republican side, aside from the rest of the views, right? If we're just talking straight what affects the real estate business, you've seen people tend to say, well, Republicans deregulate. They don't want the government meddling in your business as much as Democrats do. So traditionally, you will find that a lot of people feel that the Republican way is going to favor their business. Whether that's actually true or not, I mean, from the last 8 years, I can't say that the regulation has changed at all, with both parties
Yeah.
being involved in both the lending side and the real estate investing side. I mean, I think for the last 8 years, it's been business as usual from what was decided prior to any of them coming into power. I don't know. What do you feel on your end?
Well, I think what you said is exact truth. I mean, if you're looking at, historically, people will say a Republican president is good for business, right? A Democrat president is bad for business. They'll say, Democrats bring in regulations, Republicans want to deregulate. That is 100% true. That if you look at it, the majority of people will say that. Now, if I go from my lifetime in real estate, right? I came in around 2007, 2008. We had a Democrat president for 8 years. And it was the biggest transition of wealth in real estate that we've ever seen in our history, right? During a Democrat presidency, right? Then we had a Republican president came in. Now, during that time, there were regulations that came in, right? Dodd-Frank bill was introduced, which made it harder and more difficult to do some seller financing, private financing, right? And what you did is you adjusted to the regulations. It didn't stop you from doing what you're doing, but you had to adjust. It took more time, might took a little bit more money, right? Then we had the regime change to our current president, and we've seen the market continue to go up and go up and go up and go up. So from my own point of view of what I've seen personally, it doesn't matter. Like people will say no vote and they'll say this, but at the end of the day, if your mindset is to adjust and stay positive and move forward, it doesn't matter who's in office for you, right? You continue to work on your business, adjust your business to whatever happens. At the end of the day, this is the USA. It's good for business. Democrat, Republican, it's always good for business, right? And so when you realize that, you won't get hung up on, oh, who's this guy or who's that or what party or what that party, right? You'll pay attention to what's being pushed. You'll read those bills and you'll adjust your business to make sure that you fall in line with what they did.
I agree 100%. We got a question asking if you buy an owner financing and sell online contract.
That's the correct strategy that we would use. So, we buy cash, we buy private money, we buy owner financing. But, if you're going to do that, would be called a wrap. So let's say Kevin had a house he was selling to me. I would buy it from Kevin on owner financing. Kevin would sell it to me with a mortgage and a note. Then I would sell that property to my buyer on a land contract or contract for deed or agreement for sale, whatever it's called in your state.
Yeah.
So when I then sell it, that means that the deed is not transferred from me to my own buyer. I still have the deed in my name.
Daryl's saying he has a partner looking for, I think what he meant was hard money loan for a property in Philly. Daryl, we would definitely like to take a look at that deal. If you guys have any deals that you just want us to take a look at, if you go to the Facebook group, we have a joint venture form that you can fill out. You can also message us directly if you want us to take a look at it from a private money side of things. That's the point of this podcast, guys. We share our experiences. We share what's going on the market. We look to partner with anybody on deals. We look to finance deals. So that's why we try to bring as much value as possible. So definitely, we appreciate you guys bringing these scenarios to us. There's a lot of people. If you go to the Facebook group and go to the website, you'll see the testimonials for the people that we've walked through deals and helped deals, finance deals. So definitely send us whatever you guys have. Deals are being done, which is the point of today's conversation. It's about just keeping the right mindset, knowing where to put your focus on. This is a perfect time to adjust. I mean, I know, Jay, you were talking about how it's never been easier to do virtual real estate investing than it is now.
Yeah, it hasn't been, right? And I think that everything right now has become a virtual world. You have all kinds of programs and systems and apps that make things virtual, right? Also, if you look around, a lot of people are moving now, right? There's some states and cities right now that are seeing a mass exodus of people living, right? So California is one. New York City and parts of New Jersey, people are leaving in droves, right? We have parts of PA right now that are blowing up. I mean, I can't even find enough houses for, these are whole families, right? Like cousins, aunts, uncles, they're all moving from New York. They're trying to come to parts of PA, right? And if you're at home trying to figure out how to do virtual investing, now is the time to actually dig into it. We do have a free course right now that you can look into, right? But it's not difficult, right? You don't have to have a 15, 20-man team. It can be you. It could be two people, right? You need to have a couple, boots on the ground is the way that I would do it. But we had Brian Manley on last week, and he was saying how they make offers over the phone. They're not even going out to the house, right? They pretty much know the market they're in, they know the trends, they know the numbers, and they're making offers over the phone, right? So one thing I want to say is just like, don't let boundaries of where you live at, right, stop you from making money wherever you want to make money at. One thing that I know for me is like, first, number one is why I go to a market, I have somebody there, right? Friends or family, right? And coming out. Second is like, I want to live there. I want to visit there, So if I want to visit Atlanta, right, let's go do some deals in Atlanta, find a deal for myself, right? I was in Puerto Rico. If I want to live in Puerto Rico, let's go find some deals in Puerto Rico, right? You truly in this new age can do, deals wherever you want to do it at. And being virtual, is basically the new wave.
Yeah. And if you,
and
go ahead.
Another thing too is the iBuyer wave is bigger than ever before, right? So Opendoor and Zillow, they are normalizing virtual investing or normalizing wholesaling, right? So don't fight that. Jump on the tailwind, right? They're making it normal.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you're like, man, I am that guy that had a couple of fix and flip, buyers, and I was fix and flipping myself, or that's what I was thinking of doing, and now I've been stuck. This is the perfect time to adjust. This is the perfect time to get into the buy and hold and creative financing and really understand that the fix and flip will come back, especially once we know where we're at. The fix and flip opportunities are still there right now if you can do a quick one. But diversify, learn another skill set, learn the virtual game, get yourself a couple buy and holds. You yourself figure out how you can get yourself a couple buy and holds. Right now, I'm closing on a property tomorrow that's going to stay in my portfolio. You always want to build out your portfolio to have the depreciation and some of the tax advantages for the right property, because the rest of the time I'm lending my money and just collecting the cash flow that way. So that doesn't mean I don't ever buy properties and keep them for myself, but we've talked about it in different shows. It is diversification. It's diversification with who I do business with, the type of buyers that buy from me. It's diversification in what type of deals I'm getting into. Your accountant should be advising you as to, hey, listen, what if you pick up another property, we can write off X amount of depreciation. It's going to help you on your taxes this coming year because of what you're doing in the other avenues of your revenue. Those are the type of conversations you need to be having with your team. And that's going to dictate, should you flip, should you hold, do I lend my money out? You want to have a strong conversation and relationship at all times, at least once every quarter, if not every month, with the attorney on your team and with the accountant on your team, as well as if you have marketing and sales on your team. It's not just do deals, it's do deals and then structure myself in a way that makes sense.
No, that's definitely correct. I was just talking to one of my partners today about, a rental property, right? We actually got a lead on 2 4 units that the seller was selling owner financing, right? And we're looking for a couple of rentals to pick up per year because, like you said, it's true. We talk a lot about seller financing and owner financing land contracts, but you want to grab 1 or 2 rental properties per year for that exact reason, right? For tax strategy. So, we do it all. We diversify. We still wholesale a few properties too. It's just, why wholesale when you can do what we keep talking about, Kevin, the best of both worlds, where you can get a down payment and cash flow. That's why we would rather never wholesale and just sell to land contract or owner financing.
Yeah, 100%. This next coming year, depending on how things react after the election, right? We don't have a crystal ball, so we're sitting and waiting to see. The reason we're talking about it is we're a couple weeks away. So I'm going to have my popcorn ready and see what happens as far as not who's the president, but who and what is the outcome and the reactions to the markets after the president gets elected. That's where I'm going to be paying attention. I'm focused on this next coming year, really building out my buy and hold portfolio for tax reasons and tax purposes after the meetings that I've had with my CPAs, as well as really taking advantage on the private lending side and doing some more creative deals. That's really where my head's at. And then, of course, if there's a major market correction and there's major deals out there, then I'll explore the fix and flip. But right now, fix and flip for me is probably not the most top of the list on my priorities.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You know, like we've been saying, cash flow is the number one goal for both of us right now. Just trying to build up cash flow and continue to keep a war chest on the side while we build up cash flow. Because when that market does correct, is when you really, really go out there and pick up those life changing deals. You know, we're seeing them right now already. I mean, in every market that I'm in, I'm seeing crazy, amazing deals. But another thing too is when the market is uncertain, you don't want to get stuck, right? Because every deal is not a good deal, right? Right now, it's very easy to lock up a deal. Like I think it's easier than ever to get a deal on the contract, right? But that does not mean it's a good deal. So make sure you're doing your due diligence on each deal that you pick up on. I get a lot of deals right now from sellers who, a wholesaler couldn't close, right? Like let's say I got a deal on Friday, and I'll give you an example of this deal. We talked to this guy back in probably last June. We talked to him last June. Offered him a seller financing offer and a cash offer. Went back and forth. The pandemic hit when he was about to make his decision. He kind of just put everything on hold. Then he calls me in like August and says, "Hey, I got the house on the contract. I'm moving forward." I said, "Cool, good job." Right. Then I see the house show up on the MLS a few weeks later, and I watched it on the MLS. So a wholesaler locked it up. Tried to sell on the MLS, and I saw the price reductions happen in MLS. And then last week, the reduction went down to like right where I was ready to make an offer to Adam before. So I called him up. He's like, "Hey, you know what? I got a few days left in this contract I'm in right now. But if this thing doesn't go through, I'll give you a call." Well, he gave me a call. He explained to me how sorry he felt for not going with us in the first place, how, the investor he was going with just kind of screwed him over. And now the deal fell into our lap for about $5,000 cheaper than what we had, asked for before. So a lot of wholesalers are out there doing our jobs for us and making it kind of easy for us because we're just picking up the fallen pieces right now.
100. Yeah. Guys, I hope you guys can kind of get ready yourself and make those adjustments, because this really is the year of taking action and adjusting along the way. And I hope that's kind of the message you got from today's show. If you want to get a hold of us, you can find us on the Facebook group. You can reach out to Jory. You can reach out to myself. We'd be happy to talk to you guys about whatever you got going on. Make sure you check out our free virtual real estate investing course on shutupandinvest.club. And you can find also a link directly on our website as well. Jay, you got anything before we let the people go?
No, I just wanted to, kind of piggyback on what we've been trying to say today. It's like, regardless of what's going on around us, because there's a lot of uncertainty, people are all up in arms, people are all worked up. If you can focus on the goal and the task ahead of yourself, right, you can accomplish anything, right? Do not let any kind of political party or election stop you from your goals or take your focus off. A lot of people are spending all day long on social media, arguing about this and that and not doing the work. And those of us who are doing real work are seeing better deals than we've seen in a few years, right? So keep your eyes on the prize and focus. Shut up and invest.